Chat podcast, the weekly podcast of MinnesotaVikingsChat.com, featuring me, your host, David Erickson, and with me today, Rick Birmingham from Minneapolis. Hey, Rick.
Hello.
And Adrian PERRYMAN is not with us this week, so it's a Rick and I solo, or duo, I guess. The NFL draft starts on April 25 and goes, I think, 3 days this year. So for the next few weeks, we'll be discussing potential picks for the Vikings in their areas of need. And, of course, the Vikings, one area of need is glaring need is receiver. And so the Vikings have 11 picks, 2 in the first round. They have the flexibility to make some deals to move up. And one of the huge names of receivers in this year's draft is Tavon Austin. Pretty exciting receiver out of West Virginia. Is 5'8", 174 pounds, 30-inch arm length, 9 1/8-inch hands. Runs a 4.3 40, very quick. So, Rick, what are your thoughts on Tavon Austin?
He's wonderful. He sounds like the best replacement for Percy Harvin. He's small, but he hasn't seemed to have gotten hurt. I suspect, in just watching the videos, not being an expert, he runs out of bounds a lot. I'm not sure he's going to make it out of bounds in the NFL every time. He's probably going to have to lower his shoulder and get hit more than he did. I thought Reggie Bush was always going to get hurt because he was too small. Reggie Bush has been okay. He's not Reggie Bush by any stretch of the imagination, but for me, I don't know that he's worth both first-rounders because I think we'll get 2 starters out of that, and he'd be wonderful. But I don't know. If we move up that far, I'd be real tempted to try and get a middle linebacker who hasn't been to Notre Dame. So,
nudge, nudge, say no more. Yeah, I mean, if you want to replace Percy Harvin, that's the guy to go get. And you're going to have to trade up to get him because he's not going to fall to 23.
No.
So, I don't know. He's a fascinating prospect. He's super fast. He completely destroys defenders' angles. He outruns entire defenses. 4 tools. He's a threat at receiver. He's a threat as a running back. He runs out of the backfield. So he's Percy in that way. He's a kick returner, dynamic kick returner. Percy in that way, and we've got a big hole there.
Yes, we do.
He's a punt returner, a dynamic punt returner, which Percy did not do. And he's a lot like Devin Hester when Devin Hester was at his prime in punt return game. Stop, start, feint, superb, quick burst, and just accelerate through a hole and take it to the house. And he's definitely a threat to take it to the house on any given play. But again, 174 pounds, 5'8". He's not the size you want for an NFL player. But you'd think that with his speed, he's 4.3 speed, he just does not get hit a lot. And it might change in the NFL. There's a lot faster players in the NFL, and like you said, he might have to take some hits. And I didn't see that a lot in the film we saw of him. So
college is very different in that regard.
Yeah.
I think for all of our podcasts, we should distinguish between acceleration speed and top speed. I think he's definitely a guy who's got acceleration speed. He obviously is very, very fast. I don't know that he's got top speed. I feel like when we play, there's a big difference. Guys who can accelerate, it does have a huge impact, but there is a difference. You also can, if you're running deep routes and things like that, a guy with top speed can do that.
Yeah.
We would use him for a lot of short yardage stuff, which would probably be a good fit. It has yet to be determined if he can, break away from an NFL cornerback and, get a quick slant and stuff like that, because that would obviously be very different for him than what he's been doing. But it's super fun to think about.
He's got really good field awareness too. So he seems to have the vision of understanding. I've got this guy. I'm going to juke this guy out. I'm looking at the next guy and the next guy where I need to go on the field to take it to the next level. So yeah, I mean, if the Vikings do move up and pick him, it'd definitely be another playmaker on the offense. But we still got a big hole at the number 1 receiver because Greg Jennings is he's a stopgap. He is a slot receiver that can play outside. So we still need that number one receiver on the outside. So it would be interesting, but I suspect we're going to take more than one receiver in this draft anyway.
Exactly, for sure. But also, I would throw in one negative for him. Not that it's really a problem with his game, but that it might be an advantage to some of the other guys, is that any wide receiver drafted by the Vikings is going to be asked to run block a lot.
Right.
And it's not that 174-pound guy, not that Percy didn't do a wonderful job of blocking, but I can see where they might make themselves feel better. If you get a guy who's got another 30 or 40 pounds on him, you might get a little better blocking, and that might be more than half the job.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good point. And I think Percy was 185 or 195 maybe.
Yeah. And he blocked wonderfully. And
he blew people up, and you're not going to see that out of Tavon Austin.
Yeah. Although I did go look at the blocking, and he was very good. I thought it was good what I saw.
Good. So we should point out that we have links on the website for highlights and profiles of all these players we're talking about. So MinnesotaVikingsChat.com. We'll put links in the show notes as well, so you can find them there. So you can check out the video for yourself. So next up is Cordero. Thank you. Cordero Patterson, Tennessee. 6'2", 216 pounds. That would be nice.
Maybe.
31 and 3/4 inch arm length, 9-inch hands, 4.42 40-yard dash. So what I watched of my impressions are great body control, catches away from his body, just plucks it out of the air. He's got a long stride in the open field. He can break tackles. He can make the defenders miss. He can catch balls with defenders on top of him, draped all over him. He's got a big body, so he can shield defenders from the ball. Will catch the ball in traffic. Runs out of the backfield between the tackles. Does a lot of end arounds. He's an excellent kick returner. Returns punts as well. I didn't see as much of how well he does on punts, so I'm not sure.
27-yard average between the two.
Whoa!
That's ridiculous.
Right.
I don't know if that's the competition, but
Nice.
1,900 all-purpose yards. So
Wow.
in 1 year. So just 1 year at high-level competition, 5 touchdowns. The other important thing to note is he had a 37-inch vertical.
Yeah.
They didn't throw high to him. I didn't find videos of him doing a bunch of jumping, but that's fascinating as a team that doesn't do so well throwing in the red zone.
He does seem to have all the tools that you would need for that play. He's big. He's got a wide radius.
Mm-hmm.
Nice vertical.
He did play running back a little bit too, which is interesting. But again, it was all in 1 year, so you don't know how teams would have reacted